Hello and welcome. I am Conan Librarian, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. About a year ago, I posted my EDC Altoids kit, my Easy Dad Carry Altoids Tin kit. Looked a little bit different, but the point was that I had been exploring a way to carry a kit that really made my life easier as a dad of two small kids, as a guy who is fairly handy and likes to be prepared, and as someone with a family who likes to do random hiking trips or just a lot of outdoor stuff. So, in this past year, I've done a lot of tinkering, a lot of playing, a lot of consideration of my loadout, and I have something a little bit different. Now, I did just put up a video recently of my EDC fanny pack, my Easy Dad Carry fanny pack, and this was in there, and I said I wasn't going to go into it then because it's a video in and of itself, and it is. So, a couple things with this video. I am going to try to make sure, if you watch my last one, you don't have to, but there's a lot of fun stuff in it. And there are definitely things in this that were in the original kit, I'm going to try to gloss over those. I tend to ramble, but I'm going to try to gloss over them unless they're really important. And there are a few things in here that I really feel are underrated and I'd like to see more of in more kits. The other thing you'll have to excuse with the video, I am still fighting off that chest cold from the last video, so there may be some jump cuts when I try to not blow out the mic and make this wholly unpleasant. Point of EDC for me, again, Easy Dad Carry. EDC means a lot of things to a lot of people, whether it's bug out, get home, med prep, disaster prep, whatever it is. For me, EDC is about making my life easier, while also still being obtainable and affordable. It's not about loading this with cool $50 pieces of gear to escape the apocalypse. It's about making sure that I've got what I need to get through my day. So let's get into it. First off, the tin is definitely larger. Now, it's not so large I can't put this in a pocket. Standard Altoids, I think, is like 2.5 by 3.5, and this is larger. It's closer to like 3.5, 4 by 4 or 5. So it is definitely bigger. Not so big it can't go in my pocket. Definitely fits in any sort of bag, whether it's my EDC dad carry bag or whatever it might be. But I like the tin. I know I could go with a pouch, and I've considered that, but I like the tin for its ruggedness and its sturdiness. And if I wanted to, I could always use the tin itself as a tool, and I can dive into that for 2 seconds. First thing, on the outside, my original tin had regular rubber bands. These are Ranger bands. I don't really need to go, I think, in depth about Ranger bands. Great tough bands. They can be used for water sealing. They can be used as tinder and kindling. They have really good burn time. So that is very nice. Little cheap carabiner. It's comfortable. I can clip this to me, other things to it. On the outside, there's a little bit of 550 survival paracord. This actually, one of the strands in it is a waxed wick or fire tinder. This stuff is great. I actually did a little experiment. I shucked this and I put a couple feet of it, wadded up into a glass of water overnight. Stuff lit and burned great the next day. So cordage is always good, whether you need to replace a shoelace, tie things together, secure things down. Cordage can be really essential, not just in hiking or camping, whatever it is, but just when a backpack comes loose, when a shoelace gets lost, whatever it's going to be. Cordage is something I find that as a dad, I need and use a lot more than I ever thought I would. The tin itself, sticker decal, because I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Up top, a little bit of cash. I caught some flack for carrying cash, and I even have some coinage in here. I do not like carrying cash on me. I just don't like having it in my pockets. So a little bit of cash, whether it's because you need to leave a tip, you come across a vending machine, you gotta, whatever it is, a little bit of cash, you never know. Because say someone's, covering dinner for you and you want to throw down the tip. A little bit of cash in an emergency is always a good idea. Just some rugged sticky notes, because they're awesome, actually. They write, they stick, they're awesome. Just some Gorilla Tape with some heavy duty needles. I actually have a regular sewing needle with some thread on here. Quick tip, pre-thread a needle if you're going to have a kit. A lot of times it may not be a big deal, but if you need to do something in an emergency, threading a needle when you have shaky hands or it's an emergency can be practically impossible. So pre-thread a needle, save your time, makes life easier. Microfiber cloth, hourglasses, electronics need them. No need to go into that. Couple rubber, or rather, excuse me, band-aids. Just a little boo-boo kit. Not a bad idea. And there are a couple things. I only have a couple of these, however. Sorry, excuse me. Couple band-aids just for little boo-boos. I carry a full med kit with me in my sling bag and really anywhere I go. I implore everyone, I'm going to take a second here. Make, carry, stow, have a med kit that works for you. Something besides just your medicine cabinet at home. Have something to take care of. Even small nicks and cuts can turn into bigger problems if you're out and about. So have first aid with you in some way. So a couple band-aids. Some Write in the Rain notebook paper, just in case you need to take notes, give out contact info. I like the Write in the Rain stuff because it means if I've got to pull it out, I don't have to worry about it being soggy or failing on me. Super great stuff out of Write in the Rain notebook. Little mini first aid kit. I usually have a few more pills in here. I like these. I'm going to take a second. I showed them off in the last video. These little pill bags, they're like $2 or $3 for 50 of them. You get them at most drugstores. Even if all you're going to do is maybe throw this bag in your pocket with a couple pills for the night or a couple little things. These are big enough I can fold a face mask or a pair of gloves into these. I love these little bags. I use them for a lot of stuff now. And they make EDC super convenient, watertight. These are really great. So this just a little med pouch, couple pills, some prep pads and whatnot. I'm just going to go from the top down. Not going to take too long on everything. A couple twist ties, bread ties. I usually use these a lot for cable management at work because I'm always, it seems like, crawling under desks or even here at my desk at my workstation. Just some quick little twist ties. Always makes things easy. Or if you need to seal up a bag, everyone knows where to find these. Some shrink tubing. So this is just some electrical shrink tubing. A couple reasons. One, if I need to secure two things together, whether I'm being handy or if I need to make a repair to a cord on the go, you can do this. You can also make a little capsule out of this too, same way you can do straws. I've actually used this a fair amount, and when I realized I didn't have it with me when I was fixing a phone cable while sitting there at work, it dawned on me that as much as I play with electronics, as much as the kids' electronics seem to always have a problem, just a little bit of, a little bit of cable melt stuff, tubing. In the vein of electronics, there's a little power cord. A lot of cool kits out there. A lot of neat tech. This came out of, I think, like a cheap Bluetooth speaker. I'm willing to bet that if you are in an emergency situation, you need to charge something, you cannot lay something perfectly flat and with 2 inches plug perfectly straight in something else. More than likely, you've got to plug into a car or it's on a computer. It's something weird. I like having a flexible cord just because it makes my life so much easier. I don't have to stand somewhere. I don't have to try to prop something up. I have a cord that'll fit and stretch and bend so I don't have to do some sort of awkward prop up mess with cordage. A hair tie. Kiddo's got long hair. A lot of people actually really like hair, or not hair ties rather, but a little, a hair band just because it's softer than a regular rubber band, so binding things together. I use it for the kiddo because it always seems like suddenly she needs her hair up for some sort of activity that we're doing. This is about 15-20 feet of Kevlar cord. It's either 50 or 75 pound test Kevlar line. This stuff is great. I mean, literally, when I first got this, I tested it by picking up a chair with it. I just ran it through 2 rungs and picked it up. This Kevlar cord, it's pretty cheap. You can get 100 feet for under 20 bucks. That's up to, I think, 100 pounds. I might get some heavier stuff. I like Kevlar for a couple reasons. One, if I want to sew something that's heavy duty, whether it's gear or tent, or it needs to be tough, this is going to keep it. It also doesn't have any stretch, so if you secure something, say overnight, this stuff is not going to stretch, and it's tough. So this Kevlar line is great. It's tough. It's super light, and you can see it packs super easy. So if I need to, say I don't actually want to use the cordage that I have, and I want to, I have a shoelace that needs retied, this will do it, or I just need to bind things together. This stuff is great. So Kevlar line. Real quick, do a couple little electronic things. A little adapter for that cord because my wife uses Apple stuff and I don't want to have to carry several different cords. This can just go in there, fit real easy. Mini USB drive, thumb drive. If you can't get to a network of some sort or log into your something, I keep my resume, my cover letter, other documents that I might want to travel and show off. So I keep family photos on here. Nothing crazy that's, I don't necessarily want a hacker to get a hold of this, but this is what I need if, say, I do need to sit down and impress someone, or I sit down with a family member or friend and want to show off our last vacation. Just a tiny little thumb drive. I love this thing. Little eyeglasses screwdriver. So this comes apart. I have this in every kit. I have one in my car just as backup. I've got one in my wife's purse. A couple little drivers on it just because I wear glasses, the wife wears glasses, and it seems like every child's toy is made of the tiniest little bits and bobs and screws on the planet. So nice little eyeglasses driver has come in handy more often than I thought. And you can get a kit at the, in the grocery store lane for a couple bucks. I like how compact this is and that the fact that I can just hang it if need be. I'll do this kind of real quick. Fire. What I've got here is a lighter. Now, I don't smoke. However, I use this lighter all the time, whether I'm, a good example would be burning cordage, whether it's a string, whether it's some paracord, whatever it is sealing up. I always find convenient. I also use it, say I need to do some sanitary prep or a little bit of first aid and you don't have alcohol. Fire will cauterize, fire will sterilize. Carry a lighter with you, even if it's just going to be in your car, in your purse, in your bag. Carry a lighter. Obviously, there are emergency situations, but I use this thing all the time, so makes my life way easy. In the same vein of fire, this little kindling puff. Most people should be pretty familiar with this. It's cotton, puffs up, takes a great spark. You can make your own. Go look up some videos, but I like this guy. I know from experience. I think it's just like a Coleman one. But these things puff up great and take a super great spark. There's a little bundle of matches. There's a couple Strike Anywhere and a couple Storm matches. The index serves to both protect them from striking, as well as a little bit of kindling. And the binder clip is just binding things together is always nice and convenient and keeps all this tight, so I don't have matches just randomly rattling around. This was in my last kit. This is a 100-pound, if not more, I'm not sure offhand, carabiner. It's only, this thing is tiny. Here's a standard toothpick, and it's smaller than that. But this thing will hold 100+ pounds. I combine this with Kevlar cord, and I could practically hang my child off of my backpack if I wanted to. These things are great. They're cheap. I'm not going to necessarily hang my keys from them because it's toothy, it's sharp. But it's super practical if I need to hang something while I'm on the go. I need to hang a bag. I even just want to hang something for the kids to sit in like this. is super convenient and heavy duty for really the tiny, tiny package. I guess I'll pull out. I got two of them. Toothpicks, obviously sanitary. Also good for kindling if I need to. Start a small fire, maintain or feed small fire. A little bit of wood, and just nice to have toothpicks. This is a Q-tip cut in half. I got it cut in half so I can store it easily. Not really sterile. You can see if I wanted to, I could sterilize these, or they make kindling, or they make good just swabbing, all sorts of different things. Q-tips come in handy. I'm not going to do its own video, but you could find or make videos about all the uses of just Q-tips. I might even throw a few more in as practical as they seem. Super glue. My first aid kit, I actually carry a big tube of crazy glue. Super glue is great. My three main uses, one is first aid, because I use this probably more than I use Band-Aids. It's just super convenient. Drop it on and go. First aid, you can use it as a fire starter, actually. Again, look that up. Super glue is a really good accelerant. And obviously, just to fix things, because I have kids that break stuff, and I don't want to have to deal with that suddenly when I can fix it, give it 30 seconds, and we're good to go. All right. This is just a nail with about 2 or 3 feet of electrical tape on it. Great for picking, prying. Obviously, the electrical tape is great to have, but just a good tool for articulating if I need to work on a small project or, first aid. I mention first aid a lot because my children as a hobby like to try to murder themselves. So that's a lot of what I do on the go. I carry more of these in my bag in my first aid kit. There's a little bit of foil wrapped around one of those expanding towels. You get it wet, a couple capfuls of water, and this thing turns into a 6x8 towelette. You can get 100 of these for under $20. They're absolutely worth owning. I love these things. They're great for when I'm at work and put it on the back of my neck when we're walking around town when I need to clean a kid off because we've been walking around and suddenly they have pasta sauce on their face even though we haven't had pasta in 3 days and they weren't near pasta, and yet there is marinara on your face for no good reason. So yeah, these little compressed towelettes are one of my favorite things in the world. A razor, pretty easy. Everyone knows what a blade or a razor is good for. Outside of carrying, I always have a pocket knife on me, but it's good to have something. And now I actually have two of them. This is kind of the backup one or a separate one if need be. This is a just regular box cutter, and actually this came from the original kit. It does fit in there. The original one, it's $1. You go to Lowe's or Home Depot, they're $1. It comes with extra blades. Now I took the sleeve off of this one just to save space in this kit itself. Come on now, camera. I know you're going to. So the reason I have this in here, oh, come on. I know you're gonna, let's focus. There we go. The reason I have this in here is when you look at the rest of this kit, it's, aside from being entirely not in focus, come on now. We're going to try again. There we go. Everything is kind of small. With something like this, you actually have more articulation if you need to make bigger movements or whatever reason. I have this in here because if I really want to get a grip or need to do something bigger, I have that capability. Now this one, it's a little big for a regular Altoids tin. You can cut, you can bend, whatever you want to do. I end up just grinding and cutting it off. I really recommend this to anyone. Now, obviously, be careful where you take this tin. You may not be allowed to take a box cutters where you're going. However, I love being able to have something that I can grab and articulate and feel comfortable applying pressure with. And again, it's a buck. You really can't go wrong if you get it and you don't like it or it doesn't work or you don't think you're going to use it. Well, then you have a box cutter, and it was only a buck. Kind of getting to the same thing as cutting or tools. This is, was a generic Swiss Army knife. So the classic Victorinox sack. This was a hardware store buy for like $3 or $4 maybe. And I actually have here, you can see, I popped the scales off of it. And that was to save room. Now, when you're working in a kit like I have here, it's a lot bigger. I could have left it on there. However, I really don't need to. The tools on this, I don't need a huge amount of grip. It's small scissors. I'm not going to go through. Everyone knows what's on these. But if you're going for something like an Altoids tin, a regular size, or I'd like to take a crack at one of these little mini Altoids guys. I think that'll be fun to do. You save a lot of space by popping these scales off. So, yeah, something to think about. It literally makes it twice as big with the scales on. So, shaved in half, pop the scales off. And it just gives you those little tools, file, little scissors. Again, a tiny little knife. Nothing compared to, a razor blade or a box, or rather a full knife that you might carry. However, it is so convenient to have those little tools when you need them, especially because this is at this point so tiny. Speaking of those little tools, because I saved the space, and it may seem odd to pull the tools off and then save them, the tweezers, although I usually have a much better pair of those Uncle Ben's tweezers. They're awesome. Get a pair. Although these aren't bad, they're the generic, classic Victorinox style carry tweezers in some form, whether it's bugs, splinters, hairs, or you're just doing a project with kiddos and you need something. Carry tweezers all the time. I don't know how I'd operate as a parent, at least for my children, without tweezers. Little the toothpick that came off of it in case I use the other ones, and it's again a good little articulating tool, and it wouldn't hurt one of the kiddos if they needed to use something as well. Little push pin. A lot of times I've actually used this more than several times for phone stuff or really small stuff. It's nice to be able to stick something and leave it somewhere, especially if you're doing stuffy repair, stuffed animal repair. Very important. That's a main focus of a lot of EDC is preparedness and stuffed animals. This is a little eyedropper or a little single dose. You can buy these. They come in like 12 or 15, and you just cut off the bottom, and boom, you got an easy peasy. I've got a couple of these as well in my main kit. But you have an issue with your eyesight, or you get something in your eye, it's game over. So this, even just one time, can really ruin a whole day, a whole trip out, a whole walk through the woods. So just some eye drops. This, I love this. Again, I think this is underrated in a lot of kits. It's a self-lighting or relighting trick birthday candle. And it looks used because I have in fact used it more than several times at work because we didn't know or we forgot or no one said anything about suddenly a birthday party for someone at work. Or I've also used it for several impromptu stuffed animal birthday parties because these stuffed animals have birthdays. Seems like every couple months. It's crazy. These are also very good in a survival situation. They relight. The wind's not going to get them. They can get wet without going out necessarily. They'll relight. And part of the reason I said I like this tin, I can use this tin for fire. So I could secure this here and make a windscreen or have fire. I could build a small fire in this if I wanted. There are a lot of uses for the tin itself when it comes to fire. And this candle itself could also be used just as great kindling or a base for fire starting itself. So, relighting birthday candles, great for work, great for stuffies, great for being outdoors. If you need something that, you don't want to have to hold your lighter or you're just trying to keep a flame going, these are great. Just have it in one of these straws to keep it from getting smushed. This is an old trick. You can find this online. You crimp and singe with a lighter, and you have a capsule. If I wanted to seal this up or make some other capsule here, this is super useful for first aid or whatever you want to put in there. A lot I've seen fishing kits or first aid or whatever you want to put. These are cool little tricks to be able to store stuff without it rattling all around. Little flashlight. Get these. They are you can get 8 to 10 of them again for under $20. They come with clips or O-rings. They're not, I mean, they're 10 lumens. They're about as good as a lot of Firefly modes on nice flashlights. What I love is because they're so cheap, because they're so easy. I mean, it's light, it weighs nothing. I can secure this to myself, and I've done a lot where I'm, crawling under a desk or I'm looking under something for again, a stuffed animal or something that a kiddo's lost. I can stick this in my teeth and walk around with it. And because it's so cheap, if this breaks, if I lose it, if it goes out, I'm not concerned. I've got 10 more of them at home. Get these, hang them off of everything. I love these things, honestly, as much as I have spent on some flashlights I really love. I would almost say these are my favorite flashlights just for the pure convenience and price point and practicality of these. Glow stick. This is kind of a fun one just because I like them. This is a little like 2-inch or is a 1.5-inch glow stick. And I got like 200 of them. So I'm going to snap this one. It's been in here for a minute. We'll see how it looks. Oh, that's actually still pretty good. So the reason I have a glow stick in here, and I got some flack for this last time, is because if I'm in a situation where I don't have light, this is light. This is not going to help me find my way through the woods. I'm not going to flag down a car. But if I'm really needing some light, if I need to drop this in a bag so I can see what I'm doing, if I want to drop this on the ground near something that I don't want to step on in the middle of the night, something like that. Or also just because it's a lot of fun, and I'm with the kids giving out a couple glow sticks. We do a lot of these like dance parties and glow stick and strobe. Like we have a lot of fun. So little glow stick, it's good for a little emergency situation. It's good for comforting a kid. It's good for keeping them busy. And glow sticks are fun. Who does not like glow sticks? Really, honestly. In the same vein of fun and why not and cool, there's a little strober. This guy was in my last video. It strobes, it's bright, it's waterproof. After 12 hours in water, this thing went to just green and red, but still worked, which was cool. Get these. They're bright, they're fun, and they're really noticeable if you need to be noticed. And they store, they're tiny, they're the size of a breath mint. So don't give it to a kid that's going to eat the thing, but they're a lot of fun. And yeah, I love these things. We use them a lot for, you can put them inside a balloon. I know I'm rambling at this point. Put them inside a balloon, lights them up from inside. It's very cool. These are, little straw capsule. Some water purification tablets. I know because they're loose like this are only going to be good for about a year in this, but drop a couple of these in a liter or two of water, and they're great for purification. I don't think I really need to explain why it's good to make sure your water is purified in an emergency situation. Zip ties. I've got 2 of them. Zip ties, everyone knows how great zip ties are. The one thing I will say, I added zip ties to my first aid kit because I saw a video where a guy had a bunch of different sizes because at one point he had used it to splint a broken finger. So he splinted it, and then he zip tied them. And he had big ones too to go like, it was kind of crazy. I don't know that I'd zip tie a broken leg to splint it. But I had not really thought about zip ties in a first aid capacity. I love zip ties in general just because the general theme, attaching things to things. It's a way to secure things and not worry about it coming apart unless it breakage. So zip ties, get them. Whether you get long ones and clip them or get small ones, zip ties are practical in any kit. Split ring, good point of contact. It's not going to come loose unless you take it loose. It's a good way to just attach things to things. I know I keep saying it. It's because my children hate carrying things. They always decide they want a thing, they want to bring a thing, and then they don't want to carry a thing. So that's why I have a lot of that, but I doubt as a parent that I am the only one in that boat. This is a little hardware kit. This is actually a little can opener, military issue can opener. Whether you carry something super fancy or whatever it is, I like this guy just because it literally folds down into nothing. It's about the size of a paper clip, and will open a can in any circumstance. And this is just a tin of eyeglasses, screws, safety pins, some driver bits, which actually work with the tools that I carry otherwise. I don't have anything in here to drive a bit, but that being said, that doesn't mean I couldn't get resourceful, but they at least work in the with the tools that I carry regularly. And again, just little bits and bobs to secure things or to repair things, or to work on things that I find myself randomly doing as a parent or at work or just in my own personal hobbies. On the outside of this, I don't know why it's on the outside. It should be, hold on, should be on the inside of this. But it's a little magnet, just a little button magnet, and it's not lost on me. I have a USB drive in here. They stay far apart. The point of the magnet, though, is if I am working on a project, I can empty stuff out. I can have a bit, I can have a tray, but having a little magnet to just drop a screw on or whatever I'm doing, or say I'm sewing and I need to put the needle somewhere, having a little magnet to drop rather hardware on is absolutely a lifesaver, especially if I'm working out of an emergency kit or an emergency situation. Just having a way to secure those bits and bobs without having to worry about them jangling off somewhere. Little sewing kits. I got, let me see here. Yeah, here's a few. I got like 30 or 40 of these for 10 or 15 bucks. You can see this one's been opened. I've used some thread. The needle's actually in here otherwise. These are great because extra buttons, I mean, it's not super strong. I'm not going to sew a tent with it. That's why I have this Kevlar cable. It's why I have thicker needles. But one of these, you can throw in really any sort of kit that you've got. Even put it in your first aid kit, whatever you want to do. Especially on-the-go stuffy repair. If I don't have something to sew a stuffy back together and we have an emergency, well, it doesn't matter what else I have in my kit here, then I have failed. So these little guys get a lot of use, honestly. I've gone through a fair amount of them. It's not a ton of string, but get little sewing kits just to have with you. As a parent, it is honestly an invaluable tool for me personally. And honestly, someone who's prone to snagging and catching and tearing everything, whether I'm at work or I'm at the grocery store, I tend to snag and tear on absolutely everything. So these are just nice to have because it makes it quick, makes it easy, and I can take care of something really in minutes instead of having to worry about it all day. This is tape. A lot of guys will fold tape in back on itself. I don't like to do that because I want to get every millimeter of tape that I can out of a fold. This is just an old gift card, like a plastic gift card, but in another kit, I actually did it with an old, well, not an old, but a cheap waxy playing card just from the dollar store. These work great too because the tape's not going to stay on these forever. But this is a few feet of Gorilla Tape and a few feet of electrical tape. I actually only had electrical tape in my last kit, and I ran into a situation where I definitely regretted that. So, this is an easy way to keep tape to make sure it stays sticky no matter how much even if it sits in here for a long time. Nice thing, too, something like that still absolutely fits in a regular Altoids tin, or if you want to throw it a in a wallet or a purse type situation, it still works absolutely great and you have what you need. I'm also considering doing the same thing. I'd have to cut it down for this. Um, but I like this a lot more than rolling it, because when you roll it, you're just taking up so much bulk. A cylinder is a lot harder to shape or move around or store around than just, a flat card. So tape, it's good to have. It's easy to carry. It could be a lifesaver. Gorilla tape and electrical tape both have their own uses. Um, I really like electrical tape for a lot of what I do. I like how it melts, but Gorilla tape, you really can't beat just having a good, strong piece of Gorilla tape when you need it. A little button compass. I stole this guy out of one of those survival bracelets. Actually, ironically, I even keep a survival bracelet in that fanny pack, if you watch that video. But having a little compass is nice because, like I said, do a lot of hiking, do a lot of outdoor stuff, and being able to track north when I need to, because I'll be honest, I've spent my whole life outdoors and hiking and camping and even climbing. I can't tell you north with both hands in a map. I don't know why, but I am directionally challenged. So it's good for me personally to have a compass and know where I can go and how I need to track if need be. Quarter, same reason I carry cash. You never know when you're going to need to feed a meter. You never know when the kiddos find a gumball machine. And a dollar doesn't pay for anything with tax, so carry some change with you. I usually have a couple more quarters. I think a gumball machine happened. Same reason I carry quarters in the EDC fanny pack itself. That's the same thing that happened here. At some point, I just had this tin on me, and that's just what I had to go with. What else have I got here? It just keeps coming. Little jigsaw blade. And this actually came from the original kit as well. Just a type of blade that I don't have otherwise on another tool that would fit in here. I'm not going to carry a saw. But this, with tools I carry, I can put a lot of tension on. It's an edge that I otherwise wouldn't have, and I can use in bare hand. So if you're going to put together a kit where you're considering outdoor stuff at all, just a little jigsaw blade. Super practical, super small, super cheap too. And I guarantee if you already, that there's a good chance that you might already own this. If you look at this, um, it's a pretty common blade to have if you own anything besides a drill. So pick these up. They're cheap. There are a lot of different types as well. Yeah, I really like this guy. I've used it a few times. Little pen cartridge. I know, and I've caught flack for this before, I don't have a pencil in here. I have a pencil in my pouch. I carry a pencil in general, but I'm a pen guy. I want a pen. I I want ink. I want a pen. And when I run into a circumstance where this fails me, or the pen or the other options that I have fail me, then I will switch to pencil and I will apologize. I will make a public statement. But in the meantime, just having a pen, having some ink to be able to notate. Uh, Same reason I have paper if I need to give out contact information, write down whatever it is. Just a little pen. This is just an insert. It's not like a Fisher Space Pen. You could pull any ink thing out of any ballpoint pen. I like this because I'm not worried about this one leaking. Is all. Uh, Another nail in case I need to secure something. A bobby pin. This goes with the hair. Sure, you could pick locks. I can't do it. This is mostly just for the kiddo and the wife with their long hair. Again, a nail. more little hair bands, just because hair is hair always seems like a central theme when we're out and about and something needs to happen immediately. It has to do with hair a lot, it seems. Uh, Little index card just for whether it's taking notes, giving contact info, or just as kindling. A little bit of paper, never a bad thing to have. And this, most people would recognize the the one magnifying lens. Uh, I actually use this a fair amount because what I do for work, I have a lot of fine print I seem to have to deal with. Um, but a lot of people would know the other use for this too, as far as starting a fire. You can spend money to get one specifically for fire starting. I think this is one that's just times 3 or 4. Um, these are great to have. These can pack in a wallet. It's an honest to God, a very good fire starter. Now, there is a trick to it, and I'm not going to teach you how this works, but essentially, step 1, try. Step 2, swear a lot. Step 3, keep trying. Step 4, yes, in the right circumstance. So these aren't foolproof, but they are easy to carry. I mean, my daughter was able to start with a little bit of hand sanitizer, was able to start a fire with one of these on a sunny day. So these are great for any kit because these are going to fit in a standard Altoids tin as well. You can spend the money to get one that has like the fire starting instructions and everything. If you need that, go for it. It's not a bad thing to have that just in case. So that is my updated EDC. I know there's a lot of stuff in here, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that people are going to think doesn't need to be in here. I also realized that this thing went way longer than I thought or said it would. But the point of this kit, my Easy Dad Carry Tin, is that all of these things are practical. All of these things are situations where I've used them. I am in the situation where I could use them, or I wish I had had them because I couldn't use them when I needed to. I again challenge everyone, make your own kit. See what you can do. See what you find fun and see what you can accomplish. Leave comments if you have questions, whether you think this is terrible or overkill or I could change something, add something, do something different. Let me know. I appreciate any comments. And yeah, folks, stay safe, stay prepared, and keep having a great day. Thanks.